So the Leafs beat the Lightning in a key game for them, 2-1. It's not a foregone conclusion yet, but they have 12 games left, 7 at home, 5 on the road after this loss. All right, Greg, see you Thursday. Flyers, by the way, no longer have a long winning streak, so they'll be seeing the Lightning looking to end a losing skid as they lost to Boston tonight.
Well, it has been an eerie feeling across the NHL, especially in arenas, all day today, as we learn that the NHL will put a pause on the current season amidst the global pandemic that is the coronavirus. So no NHL action for the foreseeable future.
The NBA was the first domino to fall last night in suspending their season due to coronavirus concerns. And now nearly every other professional sport has followed suit, including the NHL.
The NHL is suspending play immediately due to concerns over the outbreak of the coronavirus. Games set for tonight, including the Tampa Bay Lightning and Amalie Arena, are canceled.
You think about the momentum, in these seasons, especially for hockey.
Yep.
I mean, they're building and building and building, and all of a sudden you come to a halt, and you have, like the players said, the fans say,
right.
You have to turn it back on.
On Sunday, the NHL has used the word paused their season.
Yeah, pause, suspended. I don't know which one is worse or better. You know what I'm saying?
Well, think about the folks whose livelihoods are at stake.
So many.
Everybody is going to be cautiously waiting for more information. I think things will start to slow down after this announcement, and then we'll see where we go from there. I spoke to a lot of players today that were on buses, headed for airports, going back to their respective cities, not really knowing what to expect next. Every one of them dying to continue and play, dying for the opportunity to be able to play, but understanding completely how serious this situation is.
You are looking at a video of the Lightning players leaving Amalie Arena this morning because that directive is immediate. The Lightning will not be playing their game tonight against the Flyers.
I mean, I guess it was probably back in February or so. You start hearing the rumblings throughout the U.S. and different markets and cases that were popping up throughout the country, and obviously prior to that over in China. And at the time, you're not sure what to believe. You're not sure what are the accurate reports, and you try to get as much information as you can from, specialists, the experts that are working in the field of epidemiology. And you don't think it's going to hit you like this. You don't think it's going to hit the country the way it did. But once we got into March and there were more closures and you start hearing different rumblings, you start to wonder, could it affect you? Could it affect the season? Could it affect the league?
Well, the first time I kind of got an idea that something was going on was we started getting reports that the factories in China where a lot of our equipment and our sticks are made were shutting down, and it was just so kind of unusual for that to happen. And it's kind of one of those things you're like, what exactly is going on over there that they have to shut down because of this? But that was kind of the first indication, and then things just slowly started to escalate.
The first NBA player test positive, they shut down that night, and immediately you start thinking, wow, that could be it for us. And sure enough, here we are, 4+ months later, still waiting to get back.
We were going to play Philly that night, and anytime I play a former team, I was pretty excited and hyper, kind of hyper about the game to come, so it was just kind of unusual. You get to the rink and you start hearing all these rumblings, and we weren't going to go on for our skate, and then I remember Coop bringing us all into the dressing room and just kind of and addressing us as a group, and I remember just sitting there and thinking, like, I had this weird feeling in my stomach. This could be the last time we would be like in the room together for a considerable amount of time, and it turns out that was true.
This time that I've been able to spend with him has been amazing. Getting up with him in the morning, putting him to bed at night, reading him a bedtime story. It's things that you sometimes take for granted during the season because we are traveling. So in saying that, it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, I've been pretty vocal about it, but I'm my first kid, obviously, and to be able to be there for for a lot of the little moments and new things that she's doing. It's pretty special, and I'm a very proud dad, obviously.
You know, you have all of a sudden you have the whole family at home, and we're trying to accomplish some form of education, and then it's a lot of bike rides and time in the pool. And then during our time there, I think we ended up with 5 different dogs for multiple sections of weeks during the quarantine. So, you know, there was different things that we kept busy with, and you know, with an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, you know, you have to be on your toes.
You know, for how our schedules are as professional athletes, especially hockey players, we're on the road a lot. So to spend time around my family was, you know, fun for me. Like I said, the whole thing was making sure my family was all right, and then hockey was coming second.
It was really good just to connect with my kids and be there for them, and just kind of, you know, experience them on a different level and on a day-to-day level where, you know, sometimes that's not the case, where we're kind of in and out and we've got different commitments, whether it's even during the off season, you know, you're in an extensive training schedule, or during the season where we're traveling all the time. So it was good for our family, and you kind of got a break, and you really kind of got to be involved in a different level of my kids' lives.
You know, I can't complain about the quarantine. I had a lot of family time, and you know, I really enjoyed that time. I cherished it.
You know, and to be able to share the gift of hockey with her is going to be pretty special. So I'm excited to have her see, even if she doesn't understand it, she can see what her old man's doing.
But it's the same for them. This is unprecedented times, and it's, you know, it's nothing you can control other than what you do yourself. So they're all very, very, you know, knowledgeable about this, and they know what's going on. So I obviously wish I could be there too. You know, you want to be close to your family at this time, but you know, you just got to make sure that it's you know, safe enough to get back there before you do.
We obviously didn't think it was going to be this long, but at the time it was good. You know, you can still rehab. You know, I can skate by myself in the beginning. So, you know, in that part, but then I went home and, you know, I ramped up my training. It was a little bit different, you know, coming from 8 weeks of quarantining pretty much in your own house, and Sweden is obviously taking a little bit of a different route. You know, everyone's still working, you know, shops are open, grocery stores are open, obviously with social distancing still in play. I mean, there was restrictions, but not really the same as it was over here. So, you know, we were able to see our family, see our friends, and I think that was obviously good for us. But at the same time, you know, we wanted to stay safe, and, you know, we stayed at home as much as we could.
Now that I'm an influencer, I feel like I gotta give you guys some content. Be ready, it's a little choppy.
I guess that was my peak boredness, you could say, when I decided to do this doc talk. Our media relations guy had asked me to do a couple videos for the fans, and I figured I would do something fun. I would do a Q&A on my jet ski. We ended up incorporating other teammates that lived nearby, and it kind of grew into this bigger thing. And once we figured we had a good fan base, we thought might as well help out some charities.
Wrong house, wrong house. Stammer's a big football guy, so.
I've been always a huge Tom Brady fan, so.
He hated every part of that, but good guy. How do you feel about being voted the best defenseman in the NHL by the players? Wow.
I know Killer for a fact did not vote for me, so.
I know you're a big Killer fan, right? That's what you tell everyone.
I only really planned on doing one episode, but it seemed like the fans enjoyed it enough for me to do a couple more. That's when I figured there could be something here and we could make this bigger than it was. But at first it was really just something to do for fun, you know, to go to my teammates' house, ask them some questions, get the fans involved. But yeah, I did not realize how big it was going to grow when I first had the idea.
Live on Instagram while on a jet ski, cruising the choppy bay waters for a quick chat with his friends.
The Harvard grad decided to turn his conversations with teammates into a fundraiser.
A Tampa Bay Lightning star, Alex Killorn, is turning some social media fun into an amazing way to help local teachers and students.
New this morning, ABC Action News reporter Sean Daly is with the local nonprofit that's benefiting in a big way from Instagram hit Doc Talk with Killer.
I want to talk about something that I've been seeing on social media, and I think a lot of people have taken notice to, is your Doc Talk initiative. I know that's $45,000 you've raised so far.
It's on Instagram, so head to his social channels and you can find it there. It's all for a good cause.
It was just a fun thing. So now that it's over, you know, it's a little bit of a relief now. I don't worry about getting guests and figuring out how to do a show. But it was fun while it lasted.
This part of a nationwide protest over the death of George Floyd. Video of his arrest and death sparking nationwide outrage. Floyd was arrested 6 days ago while police were investigating him for using counterfeit currency. Former officer Derek Chauvin can be seen here kneeling on Floyd's neck as Floyd repeatedly says, "I can't breathe."
I remember I saw it on social media. I had to look at the video a couple times. It was definitely hard to watch. I think for anyone who watched that video, it's heartbreaking to see someone's life taken off like that, and you know, you can definitely call that a murder, and it was definitely hard to see, that's for sure. Obviously you don't want this to happen, but you know, it's good to see people around the world, not just in the States. I know in Canada there's a lot going on. I saw some in Australia, you know, in Europe, all over Europe, supporting the Black Lives Matters, and it was awesome to see that many people, you know, protesting about that. I think it's an issue that is going to take some step, and it's not gonna be overnight. But I think it was great to be part of that.
It's a real big opportunity for all of us as a society. There's a lot of responsibility that goes along with that, and you know, team sport and sport in general, we always preach responsibility, but responsibility starts at home. It starts in all communities, and it's about everybody working together and being as collaborative as possible. It's not about being divisive. And that certainly adds a big uplift as we go through the adversity, especially around the needless murders of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery.
A lot of people were asking me my opinion, and I felt that I've always been about trying to include everybody, trying to be very inclusive in my approach to things and my approach to people, even from a young age. I went to school in Montreal in an area where there was it was very multicultural, and I had friends of very diversified culture, and for me it was important to kind of share that with people and share my experience where growing up I was able to have Vietnamese friends, Italian, Greeks, Iranian, Canadian friends, African friends, you know, and being able to explore and experience their culture and their customs and really kind of expand my view of the world and my horizon as an individual. And we're lucky to be in a sport like hockey. I mean, you know, throughout my career, I was fortunate enough to travel all over Europe and see different culture and different people. And at the end of the day, everybody has the same objective, which is essentially raise your family the best way you can and provide opportunities for your kids to succeed in life and to be happy and to raise their own family, you know? So I think everybody that I've met over the years from different cultures, every country that I've visited, all had that in common.
I think it just, honestly, it builds my character. I think I'm a guy through adversity that is working harder, and I got that from my parents, from the values they gave me growing up. And you know, I think by the fact that you know, there's going to be some adversity, and my dad told me about that it's not going to be easy. And he and my uncle playing hockey growing up back in Montreal, you know, they've heard some horrible stuff, and some things happened in junior that I had to go through adversity, and it's just a motivation, I think. You know, I got to wash it off those comments and push harder and trying to, you know, prove people wrong, and that's what I've been thriving to do, and I'm still trying to do that till this day.
From a hockey standpoint, every single girl or boy, grandmother, grandfather, aunt, uncle that goes into an arena, they need to feel valued. You know, regardless as to what their accent is or what part of the country they come from or whether they emigrated here, they need to feel safe when they go into arenas. They need to feel safe in their communities. And I think if we can all have that level of human respect and decency 101, that's when we see the best of people. And that's what we want to see as we continue to march forward.
Good afternoon. I am delighted to be with you today to announce the National Hockey League's plans for our resumption of play, the format of the 2020 Stanley Cup playoffs, and how we will conduct the 2020 NHL Draft Lottery. As we seek some return to normalcy, this is an important day. I know I join sports fans everywhere when we say we cannot wait for our players to hit the ice again.
The NHL announced its return to play plan with plenty of details still to be worked out. Now here's what we know. The regular season has been declared completed. The return to play plan calls for a 24-team format, 12 teams in each conference, playing in 2 hub cities.
And yes, the Lightning are locked in. They are one of the top 4 seeds in the Eastern Conference, and they avoid a 5-game first-round series. But here's the catch. The Lightning will play a round-robin slate of games against the Boston Bruins, Washington Capitals, and Philadelphia Flyers to determine seeds 1 through 4.
I don't know if you're at an advantage to, I guess, tiptoe your way in, have the exhibition game, a couple round robin games, but the round robin games, let's be honest, they mean something. They mean your seeding, they mean potential home ice down the road if you're fortunate enough to keep advancing. So there is something to play for. Or is it, are you an advantage to play one exhibition game and boom, you're right into games that mean something and potential moving on or elimination. From our standpoint, it does give us a little bit more time to look at some players. It gives us a little bit more time to make sure we are rolling on all cylinders. I don't care what you say, the desperation level probably won't be the same for the round robin games as they are for the teams that are in the play-in games. But that's our job as coaching staff to have these guys ready and to have this little extra time, and especially have some of these games against other opponents. I think it's going to serve us well.
These are extraordinary and unprecedented times. Any plan for the resumption of play, by definition, cannot be perfect. But we believe we have constructed an overall plan that will produce a worthy Stanley Cup champion who will have run the postseason gauntlet that is unique to the NHL. At the same time, we remain focused on the safety of our players, coaches, support staff, and arena personnel. In early June, we expect to be able to enter Phase 2, during which clubs can return to their individual practice facilities for voluntary small group on and off ice training.
Oh, snipe. Great transition, Blue. Finish me, son. Stop at the net, Gordo! Stand-up legend at the blue line. You! Classic you! Deserve 5 days off after that.
I think Phase 2 was good in the sense that we got back on the ice and we got to skate. I mean, we're all hockey players. This is what we do for a living. And to be around the guys, especially when we've been quarantined for so long, a lot of people hadn't had any human interaction, it seemed like, in a long time, other than their own families. So to get in the locker room, to kind of just joke around with the guys, and was a great feeling, and the one that was definitely missed during the quarantine.
The Jays shutting down their facility in Dunedin just hours after an outbreak of at least 8 COVID cases in nearby Clearwater at the Phillies camp caused a complete shutdown of that camp. Not only that, Tampa Bay Lightning's training facility, also in the vicinity, has temporarily been closed after multiple players and staff have come up positive for COVID-19.
Even though we had a couple positive exposures, we were able to minimize the spread. I think that's due in fact to the small group training sessions that we had. So not the whole group was not exposed, number one. Number two, players taking precautions when they were in the facility, potentially around those personnel that prior to, receiving their positive test. Everybody knew going into this that there was not going to be a 100% guarantee that there was not going to be any positive tests. But I think when those couple positive tests hit our group, it was an eye-opener that, wait, this can happen to us. And it just makes people a little more diligent and maybe follow that education a little more closely that that you provided to them, and it drives home the points that you're trying to make, that this is a very contagious virus and it can spread and you have to take the proper precautions.
The NHL has announced the phase 3 of their return to play measures. Training camp will begin on July 10th.
When you see our team, you'll see a team that is ready to go. You would expect that. But to see them on the ice, to see them in the gym, to see them interacting with one another, they're all happy to see each other. They haven't seen each other in 4 months, so they're all excited to be together. Our players have really taken care of themselves in those 16 weeks, especially those 12 weeks at home. And I think people are going to be surprised, really surprised.
Let's go get some lines up in the middle here. There's a couple guys in the middle. Couple guys in the middle. That's it, that's it, that's it. Push yourself.